Hello, guys. Hello and welcome. Welcome and hello and welcome. Today's show is sponsored by Mini Water. Yes, Mini Water. Hello and welcome, guys. Of course, it is Un Poco Mas, a very special Friday edition. I'm really designing this show kind of aiming it at you weak sauce turds out there, you pikers, those of you who can't catch a break, those of you who trade in and out of stocks like hamsters on crack, those of you who tend to sell the dip and then smell the rip, those of you who invest sort of on a fear and excitement basis, take very little research and logic into account. Just basically a handful of weak sauce turds, my people, as it were. So many have said that's how I invest at times, and at times that's true. Sometimes we all let our cold Vulcan logic slip, and we let emotion and sort of the herd mentality get the better of us. We let, fear get the better of us. We've all been there. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. Just try to, learn your lesson and then move on. Guys, they call me cornbread because I am moist, doughy, and I crumble under pressure. They call me the tugboat because I'm short in stature. I pull more than my own weight, and I'm rarely far from my own port. They call me Stubby Cohiba due to an unfortunate manscaping accident I had in Miami, Florida, back in 1982. Of course, I used to do all my manscaping with a vintage Vitamix blender. And as you know, if you are hanging your genitals in close proximity to a stainless steel blade with no safety guard of any kind, spinning at 30,000 RPM, it's a recipe for disaster. So suffice it to say, anywhere in South Florida, they call me Stubby Cohiba. Out in Vegas, little Danny Cornbread DeCarlo. Around the Los Angeles parts, they call me Stock Karen because I am a huge Karen. Out in the islands, I'm just man boobing for fun and profit. I don't know. It's a pretty weak intro, guys, but I'm tired. Like I said, I had this just extensive oral surgery on the pain pills, just healing up. Made me extra Karen-y, like extra Karen-y. But it's nothing a nice, refreshing mini water won't cure. They call me mini water because I'm pointless and deeply unsatisfying. And I last a million years in landfill. Anyway, guys, how's everybody doing today? Welcome and hello and welcome. There's 8 people watching this turd right now. Anyway, so how is shorting a stock with no logical basis, shorting a good stock at really sort of, stupidly high levels and then not covering at the lows? How is that like trying to drown a fat guy? Okay, on land, if you're, a chunky monkey, such as myself, I don't want to cast any aspersions at anybody, but it is what it is. But I'm a hell of a swimmer, so what you don't want to do is try to drown me. I mean, you want to take me on land where I'm going to, get easily worn out, not be able to give chase, all sorts of disadvantages. But a fat guy is really buoyant. So I kind of want to compare and contrast a couple of stocks that I endlessly carry on about, SMCI and then CRISPR, which I've just started talking about recently. Tell you why shorting CRISPR at these insane levels we saw throughout May is like trying to drown a really awesome fit fat guy, like a, fat tennis ninja, if you will. Why I just made a huge investment in CRISPR today, right around 35, 75. I wasn't able to catch the bottom. In fact, I thought the stock was, I bought very early because I thought this was going to do exactly what it did. Unfortunately, what it did was 2 waterfalls today, one midday and one right at the morning. So I thought it was going to check up right here. So I think that was, I don't know what it was. So the low right at that candle was like 35.72. I think I got 35.74. But as it turned out, that was fine because I think the stock's worth $89 at a bare minimum. Analysts tend to agree with me for whatever those useless bastards are worth. But again, you're trying to drown a fat guy because, it's very, very buoyant. It wants to push back up. So what happened with this stock is they ended up actually shorting it super heavily all month. So let me just so you start right here, the 1st of May. Let me push in a little bit here. Let's go to the 1st of May. So that's right here. And we're going to look at this data. It's not here, unfortunately, but this is just another interesting comparing contrast. I'll show you in a minute, guys. Follow the bouncing ball. Pepe Sylvia. I got boxes of Pepe. So I'll connect the dots, guys, or I won't, or it'll be another completely incoherent waste of time as per my usual. But you'll have to stay tuned to find out that the 9 of you that are watching. God, you poor sick bastards. Nothing better to do than this. I'm embarrassed to be making this content, but you should be just deeply ashamed of consuming this content. You ever think there's just too much content? There's just way too low a barrier to entry to becoming a content creator? Why aren't there more fat influencers? Old fat influencers. We have no influence. We have no hand. Anyway, I kind of forget what I was talking about. So if you look at the chart, if you care to do that kind of thing. So on May 1st, the stock closed at 37.73. Okay, and then it closed today at 36.29 and it recovered back to 36.66 after. So the stock has gone down $1 in the last month. And it's been shorted at ratios, averaging high 60s, 70. So they've had to push down extremely hard, and they have not been able to drown the fat guy because he's too buoyant. He's too good. He's too resilient. He's too floaty. He's a good eater. He had a salad last week, and today he had biscuits and gravy. You guys like a nice breakfast buffet? That's one of my favorite parts of vacation. Just a nice breakfast buffet. Princess Jay will tell you, what I like to do is, she plans a nice itinerary. And then, I get there, load up on the old breakfast buffet, want to fall asleep and take like a 4-hour nap, ruin the whole day. Hey, honey. Oh, he's asleep again, a fat bastard. Anyway, no, welcome and hello, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Un Poco Mas. Right now, I need every single one of you guys. I don't even have a cult audience right now. It's not a micro audience. This audience is smaller than your Schwanz. You jump in a freezing, polar bear challenge. Thanks to that German guy who was explaining to me about Schwanzes and Wieners and Wiener Schnitzels and penises and Johnsons and units, all that stuff. If you want some technical, some technical info on your genitals, there's no better place to go than a, nice technical German. Where I'm glad I have a worldwide audience. A lot of us are focused on our, like I said, YouTube is doing some extremely detailed analytics, and it turns out I have a poorly endowed audience. I also have a not very intelligent audience. A short audience, both in stature and in schwanz. But it's neither here nor there. You could still make money. Doesn't affect anything. Have 2 different sized testicles and still do well inside of this market. It's because of the increased volatility. Could actually probably do better with all this volatility if you do have 2 different sized testicles. But you may have testicular cancer. So, strikes and gutters. Silver linings playbooks. What's up, 2 brothers? Oh, it's the great Billy Jack, my big, beautiful brother. What's going on? Buying some CRISPR. Yeah, get you a tracking position, Billy Jack. This thing's going to go back. This thing's going to go way, way up. There's no reason for what they're doing to this stock. Okay, so you see where it is. It went down $1. Now, keep in mind in a month what they had to do to get this thing down $1. Look at these short volumes. I don't know if you guys can read this, but May 1st starts with 74, 68, 69, 65. The lowest of the whole month is 52. Now, SMCI, days to cover is 3. Okay, CRISPR days to cover is like 13. And the average, I've never seen anything like this. They're shorting this thing in the 70s. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know exactly what this number means. I've read all kinds of people have told me all, but you can just compare and contrast it to, for instance, to CRISPR. I mean, 37, 40, 45, 36. This is neutral, maybe some slight covering. CRISPR 70s. This is reckless, wild shorting, and they can't even push the stock down. I mean, all they're really doing, it seems, is killing options. I mean, the institutional ownership, remains through the roof. And like I said, look at these days to cover, 12.5. That's indicative of a stock that is not very liquid. I mean, SMCI, you have a ton of volume on that stock. Even on a slow day, it's, they have a similar share price. Obviously, SMCI is, a ton more shares because the market cap is about 10 times as much. So you expect it to trade a lot more. But SMCI could trade 40, 80 million shares, and CRISPR is only trading like 1.5, 1 million shares. So even on a proportional basis, the stock is not very liquid, and the reason is because there's no shares available. So there's so many things working against the shorts. That's why days to cover are 12. They have a massive, massive short position on the stock, 25%. They're saying, I think it's even higher than that. Shares on loan, basically the same, or a little bit higher, short interest 21.4, shares on loan 25. So they borrowed an additional 5 million shares. You see utilization 97.56%, a short score of 83. Yesterday, borrowing another 115,000 shares. Today, borrowing another 67,000 shares. And this is on volume of only 2 million. So it's quite significant, and it leads me to believe they're going to keep trying to short the stock. Shorting the stock from this level, makes absolutely no sense. They've got a couple conferences coming up where management's going to have a chance basically to toot their own horn. They have data readout coming out several times in the second half of this year. So, my play on this thing would be, if you want to get into some calls, I would space them out over like 9, 12 months, maybe even 18 months. I wouldn't get into anything with short dates because, they could hold this thing down potentially for another month. But I don't think they can short it at this level because I think institutions want to accumulate more and more shares. There's absolutely no shares available between what institutions own and what these pharma companies own. I mean, like I said, look at the insiders on this thing. Excuse me. Look at the ARC, UBS, all that. That's not what I'm talking about. Look at the insiders. Bayer, Vertex. Vertex just bought more. Bayer owns 6.5% of the company. Vertex owns 6%. Celgene owns 4%. GlaxoSmithKline owns 3%. So big pharma, European big pharma owns like 21% of the company. Okay. And then go back to the other institutional owners. So you add it all up, it's like 95% institutional ownership if you count those big pharma companies and some other, investors that aren't technically institutional. Pardon me. So there's no shares, and given that, there's no shares available, they're shorting 25% of the float. The float's very deceptive because those those shares are not trading. That 21% of the, they're calling that float. That is not floating. Floating like a freaking brick. I don't know what they're doing with this one. I don't know why they're doing it. But they're counting on these shares being loaned to them very, very cheap. And that can be cut off anytime. I mean, Kathy Woods has a long time horizon, but she owns so much of this stock. I think she can, she can manipulate things pretty well with buys. And I think she pretty much wants to own this whole company. I mean, it goes back trying to drown a fat guy. Why do you short stocks? I mean, sometimes they just pick it out of a hat. Sometimes it's just a feeling. Sometimes they just don't like the fact that the CEO has gray hair and looks great in a windbreaker and is, amazing and handsome. Like my Papa Noto. Went out for an orange juice almost 50 years ago. Never came back. Still no stock options. Still no RSUs. Still no PSUs. PSP. Anyway, I don't remember what I was talking about. So everything is lining up on this. I mean, look at the chart. Look what happens, how this thing behaves in this channel. I mean, this was the long-term trend, the upward trend, 10-year trend on this blue line. You saw it break down there, about 6 months ago below that line. But what happens every single time this thing comes off this support line? It tests the top of the channel, this green channel. I mean, it comes off support. Sometimes it double taps, then it goes up, right up to the line. And it comes down again. That leads me to believe it's going to move up right to this area, at least, sort of to this 49 area. I think it's going to go right here. I mean, of course, so much depends on the macro, the news, it's Trump just doing stuff every single day. I mean, Jamie Dimon came out even, and Jamie Dimon was very pro-Trump, I think, at least the way I read the tea leaves. But this is extreme. Like, this is Neo. This is like, there's no organic nature to this trading. And to me, I just don't understand this. Who's going to sell him the shares to cover, like, is GlaxoSmithKline and Bayer going to chicken out because the stock goes down? They're going to be like, oh my God, we're going to sell all our shares because what they know is like a fake dump. I mean, look at the daily on this thing. Waterfall here, waterfall here. I mean, they accumulate the entire rest of the day. And I absolutely guarantee you institutions are net buyers of the stock because they just, retail's just absolutely shitting their pants down here. Yeah, I think I picked up shares like right here. I think like 15, 17, 18 minutes into the day. I was like, I had so much work to do. I had to get it over with. Couldn't watch this crap all day. Watching paint dry. Monkey feces flung at you, watching that dry. Like a raisin in the sun. Anyway, so you guys do the math. You can think about this whatever way you want. This stock was 220. Now it's 36. If you usually you short a stock, they're running out of money. Their program's not going well. Their roadmap doesn't make sense. There's some big glitch. They got horrible data. There's this big safety thing, which happened with, I think it was Intelia the other day. Their stock dropped like, 25%. And it was completely unwarranted. I mean, it was like one case and the person recovered without hospitalization. It was some like liver, the enzyme spike, whatever it is, with relation to the gene editing, or they don't even know if it's particularly caused by the gene editing, but it could be. I guess there's technical medical terms, and you could go to anybody, throw a rock and find somebody who would be able to explain that more effectively. But then you look at their finance. Okay, their burn rate is high. They're going to go out of business. They're going to go bankrupt. They're running out of time. They don't have enough time, money to execute their plan. They're going to have to, raise funds. They're going to have to go into debt, which is going to burn. And none of that is true with CRISPR. And the one thing you could say is, okay, the sector was getting beaten down. The sector was out of favor. Maybe that's why they started shorting it more and more heavily. But if you look at, say, the last 6 short reports, which covers, the last 12 weeks, 3 months, the short interest is held up there above 24, for the last 3 months. So they're just not letting up on this thing. And yes, the sector was in trouble. The companies didn't have enough money. They weren't going to get their product to market. They were never going to get the thing approved. They were chasing ex vivo, and it was really, in vivo time. It's Bree time, baby. Step into my office because you're fucking fired. Yeah, he loves you, Billy Jack. He told me. I contacted him through John Edward. He's saying you and your siblings were quarreling over the money when he passed. He says, don't worry. Do you know someone whose name begins with an S or an L or a T? It's Tom. And Tom was your uncle or your friend or your neighbor or your teacher or your... Wish I was a medium. That's easy money. Anyway, yeah, she owns, they own more than that. Oh, yeah, probably not, Billy Jack. Bunch of idiots here. What's up, money? No, that's pretty good. Wah, 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 wah. Don't beat yourself up, buddy. We got 2 brothers here. Not everybody's a comedian, and that's fine. I'm not a model. Where do I buy short sleeve baby blue panels showcase? This one I think I got from King Size Direct or the Tall and Fat store from back to school. I don't know. Yeah, you can showcase your man boobs in one of these. Like I said, I'm working on a new system. It's called man boobing for fun and profit. Make tons of money, just nothing more than chilling poolside, just man boobing. Hey, sir, are you sure you want that order of calamari? You're already working on some pretty sweet man boobs there. At least skip the aioli. No, okay. I do want a tip. Oh, you would like to see a dessert menu. Shocker. The kids can be so cruel. Those motherfuckers. What's up? What's up, money? How you doing? Oh, there's no one in this chat, Billy Jack. There's me, you, and your left hand. Quite a threesome. The great Bobby Joe was here and then took off, realized the show was going to be a huge smelly turd, got out of here just in a nick of time. We got the great Brennan here from the, what was that thing called? The Catalina wine mixer. It's not my highest conviction equity. SoFi would be my safest play. Microsoft still remains my number one position, and overall, probably my highest conviction stock. I've owned that stock since 1996. CRISPR it's risky. Do they get there? Do they start making a bunch of profit on these programs? That part is risky. Now, if you look at their financials, they're not risky in the sense of going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, their current assets, cash and cash equivalents, are like $2 billion, and they're only burning now, it's cut down to about 50 million a quarter. So 200 million a year. Now they're also investing 1.6 billion. So even if they just made 5% on that money, that would be $80 million a year. So that would offset 1.5 quarters of cash burn. So you just be down to like, that's why their cash burn is, I don't know what it was last year, but we can take a look. 306 million, because they lost a lot of money investing. I think that's why, and operating. So it's pretty ugly last year, but I think it wasn't nearly. Yeah, the other year, oh no, this is trailing 12 months. I'm sorry, this is 2024. So yeah, they lost a lot of money investing. I'm not really sure why. Then financing, they made a lot. So I think that has to do with what they're invested in. I wouldn't look too much, but their end cash position and their beginning cash position, free cash flow minus 144 million. So that's about, whatever it is, a little under 37 billion or 37 million a quarter. So basically burning, $150 million a year, they won't run out of money for 12, 13 years. And the other thing I think that's going to happen with this company, fundamentally, is that other huge pharma companies, I just mentioned, for the one that owns, the second most shares behind Bayer is Vertex. And Vertex is the one that's partnered, with CRISPR already in terms of the Casgevy program for sickle cell, which is already FDA for the very first, treatment of this kind ever approved. And, just one treatment is $2.2 million. So even though it's a fairly, rare niche treatment and it's not going to be done extensively, even if you just treat, 500 patients, that's $1 billion. I mean, so that's one way to look. 1,000 patients a year would be $2 billion in revenue. And Vertex is very, very good at monetizing, distributing, promoting drugs. So I think these other companies, 3 other companies, whether it's Bayer, GlaxoSmithKline, or others, are going to make similar deals for programs that are in Vertex's pipeline that they own 100% of. It's going to give them more cash payments, increase their runway, decrease the risk, spread the risk around, turn the beat around, let the rhythm move you, all that type of thing. So why do you short stocks? Why do you try to drown a fat guy? You're just going to end up with a big face full of man boob and egg on your face. I'm going to get my bingo wing. I'm just going to dig it into your throat. You want to face me coming at you? Try to motorboat a gorilla with man boobs. It ain't going to work. You lose that fight 9 times out of 10, my friend. Your rock hard abs might do you good in land, but they're not giving you any buoyancy out here on the high seas. Come for me, son. Hey, man, I'm cut up. I'll drown this old fat guy. Yeah, that's what you think. You'll be begging me. You'll be begging me for help getting back to the dock there, Slim. I used to have a Cuban cabana boy. Lived in my pool house. My name was Juan Pedro. Guy had 12-pack abs. Go to horse around the pool. This guy was coming out on top, so to speak. What the hell am I talking about? But anyway, if you look at the good analysts, I mean, it just kind of goes to what I'm saying. They're anywhere 75 to 100. I mean, Piper Sandler just reiterated less than a week ago, the great Edward Tenthoff. Look at this guy. Looks like he's the, spokesperson for Hardee's or something. Looks like he eats a big breakfast every day, maybe from Minnesota, Wisconsin. Guy looks like he eats a lot of cheese. Let's put it that way. Drinks a lot of red wine. Can't tell from this photo, but a bit of a red nose. So a lot of these credible analysts are, 75, 80, stock sitting at 36. No debt, 10 plus year runway, the best pipeline in gene editing, partners, revenues, the only one with an approved drug. I ask you again, why do you short this stock? Why are you trying to drown a fat guy? If you just want to touch man boobs, just come out and say, hey, I want to touch man boobs. I'm curious. It's a flabalanche. But make your intentions clear. And if you see a fat Euro and a Speedo, don't get it twisted. That guy might have, thin muscular legs and a huge abnormal gut. There's a lot of muscle in that gut. That guy could be pretty dense. That guy probably used to play soccer as a kid. He's probably just a raging alcoholic. So you got to watch out for those Euros, especially those super tan guys with tiny wings and Speedos, where they're wearing a really small Speedo, but the material is still not even contacting the wing or the sack. You think they're all, either all taters, no meat, or all meat and no taters. But some of these boys is no taters and no meat, if you know what I mean. Buffet is empty. Oh my God. I swear if they turned a team of psychiatrists loose on me for a year, they would make no progress whatsoever. We can't even figure out what's wrong with him. Let's ask ChatGTP. Just keep saying he's chunky. Well, we knew that already. Anyway, I'm pretty bored of this show. It's pretty crappy. But I'm looking at the month of June. I'm like, how long can they do this? How long? To quote the great Bono. It's actually not that great, I don't think. You ever notice Bono looks like he has really dirty hair? It looks like he hasn't washed his hair in like a couple years. I mean, it's like really straight, like really shiny. Just looks really, really disgusting. I don't know why, but like some pop stars and so just look like they have just really bad hygiene. We're going to incorporate in the Isle of Man so we don't pay any taxes, but we're big on charity. Dude, if you want to give everything, pretend you're so big on charity, but you don't want to pay any taxes, I mean, especially in Europe, where do your taxes go to the same places? You just want to grandstand about it. Big pomp and circumstance, put on a tuxedo. I mean, notice you're like 5'3", a complete doucher. The Edge. Fuck you. I own all of Malibu. Yeah, fuck you. I'm going to make a 200,000 square foot mansion to preserve nature. Oh, really? That's an incongruous statement, you pompous douche. These celebrities that think they're preserving nature by, like, if you want to preserve nature, give the land as a nature preserve. Let people enjoy it. You putting up walls around a bunch of land for yourself doesn't make you a good person. I'm talking to you, Mark Zuckerberg. Giving money with Oprah. What's this Oprah? Anybody know about this Oprah Diddy thing? Is any of this true? They're saying all kinds of crazy things. Stuff they got on tape. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, man. I'm sure Oprah's not involved in any improprieties, but they want to go over to Hawaii, buy up everything, act like fucking Queen Kamehameha over here. Zuckerberg, little fucking elf, buying up everything that's not nailed down, put up like a 12-foot wall, keep everybody off the fucking beach. But he was going to kick the shit out of Elon Musk in that, dude, Elon totally tacoed. Trump ate tacos, though. Trump actually, I think everybody's like, oh, it bothered him so much. I honestly don't think the guy gives a fuck. Like 80 years old, gonna call him names, gonna call him a taco. They've been calling the guy every name in the book since he's like young. So I know he has kind of a thin skin, but I don't know. Taco's not that bad. Anyway, yeah, that's all I really had. The chart looks extremely bullish, coming off the bottom of that. It's almost forming a wedge. You could say sort of a tightening, descending channel, whatever you want to call it. But this is actually, I think, looking I know it's a downtrend, and I know it missed this uptrend. But if you look at it come off and you look at it consolidate, yes, it could just be another step down. Absolutely. They've been walking it down from, 64, 56. It could just come down forever. But 38 was support here a couple of times. This line has been good. There's no reason to think it won't come back up to this green line, which also happens to be right here with this blue line. If it can break through both of those lines, I think, you should see bare minimum 59. But I think 66 would be, more likely place for it to run out of steam. But I think ultimately the stock goes to 89. I think that's the number I had for us. That's not my target for this. I have a different, I'm sorry, guys. Between the lack of sleep, the pain pills. What was my target on CRISPR? I had it written down. All I wrote on my notes was trying to drown a fat guy. I had another page of notes for this video, but I have no idea what I did with it. But if looking at the chart, I mean, just this is such garbage. You think it would clear this whole area. I mean, this was support here at 81, flip to resistance, resistance here, resistance here, resistance here. I mean, look, this blue channel has been good for 8-9 years. This is the first time it broke down below, because you kind of shifted here from an upward channel, this pump and dump. After the pump and dump, you went from this upward channel. The market was largely going up here, all through the 2010s. It's been kind of a, with the exception of some of this, nonsense, we've been in a long-term bull market. You've had extraordinary gains. A lot of people would argue that the multiples are, extremely overbought historically, with the exception of probably small and smaller mid caps. Anyway, you could see this getting just tighter and tighter and tighter. The range now in this, from this green line, from one point to another is only like 50 to 28. When it started out, it was like, 96 to 50. So it's gone from like almost $50 down to $20 of range here. Coiling the spring. Is it realistically going to crash from mid 30s? No way. I don't believe that. Even, even back here, the super crash in 2018 was to 22. The super crash in 2020 was to 33. So the fact that this company has really strong financials, an extremely strong pipeline, partners, revenues, investments, incredible, management, executive team, Nobel Prize winner, the people that, basically founded this technology along with the university. I think it was MIT who owns CRISPR, one of those big universities, Ivy League schools, I think. But anyway, I just think this stock, I don't think they can hold it here. I don't think they can continue to short at these levels. I don't think there's any shares out there to sell short. I think they're short long. I think it's all a scam. I think they're going to turn around. And ARK doesn't normally trade, so I don't think the players necessarily. But if you look down, BlackRock, Vanguard, Geode, State Street, they're all there. UBS, Morgan Fudley, they're all there. I don't know, guys. It's a CRISPR stock. It's Friday. Thanks for joining me. Nobody moderated this show, and you guys all seem to behave yourselves okay. What's up, Alfredo S? Thank you, sir. You have a great weekend as well. I don't know, Mr. Premium of the option. I might have to wrench you up, keep these people in line. Take that sun hat off and come on indoors. I don't know where the hell they are. I honestly, I don't think they're going to hire a new CFO. I think they've weathered the storm. I think Uncle Chucky really likes the Wigger. And I think the Wigger is a Street Fighter guy. He's very shrewd. He'll stab a fool. And I think he's, navigated this incredible explosion in the company. And I think they did have some issues, but honestly, if you look under the hood at any company that goes from like 3 billion in sales to 20 billion in sales in 4 or 5 years, you're going to break a few eggs making that omelet, folks. Shouldn't be any color on that omelet. It's not a proper French omelet. You make me sick. Yes, chef. The Wellington is raw. It's raw. It'd be better if Chef Ramsay just was able to stab these people like a real Italian chef. Scale the fish properly. They just give you a little love tap with the old knife, stab you right in the little flange off the old butt cheek, just a little flange. Oh, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Yeah, Dell just reported insane levels of demand. I mean, everything is coming up Millhouse. These tariffs, don't worry about these tariffs. SMCI is ideally positioned globally, and they're ideally positioned for these huge wins. They were just talking about that Alabama. They're going to be operational in 120 days. And I know Dell's working on it, but Dell's still behind, in my opinion. And even if they're on par, even if they split the business, even if Dell gets a little bit more of the business, SMCI does not have all their legacy BS, and they're going to continue to grow at just a crazy breakneck pace. SMCI, it's just the only reason SMCI might take time, might be more games because, they've been covering a bit. It's not as extreme. There's more issues there with CRISPR. I can see why they're shorting SMCI to a certain degree. CRISPR, I don't see it. The only thing is, the sector was out of favor. But this company, the CEO, I remember was saying he's thought the company was worth like $160 a share some time ago. And I think it's only worth more and more because there's lots of readout coming. They have lots of early stage programs. And if one of those programs for these broad-based diseases starts to show any promise whatsoever, one of these giant companies is going to absolutely jump on it. Just get down on their knees to get a piece of that program, CTX 340 or whatever it might be. I mean, they could even get partners right now for their in vivo programs because they're both pursuing the ex vivo, stuff that they can get licensed. In vivo is a ways off. Other companies can't do both because they don't have their cash runway, they don't have their balance sheet, they don't have, their scope, they don't have their size, they don't have the partner, they don't have an approved product. They basically got nothing. They got nothing. So Billy Jack, I think Nala has me blocked. Must show up for his liberal feelings. I don't think Nala Lurker is a liberal. I don't know. I never thought I was liberal at all. I thought I was quite conservative, like in most ways. The funny thing about me and Trump, I just don't like the erratic like leadership style. Just doesn't work for me. Some of the moral stuff, but his instinct in terms of like, a lot of the things that are sort of wrong structurally with our, relationship with the rest of the world. I think a lot of those instincts are right. Now, embracing sort of, autocrats and stuff. I don't really get that because I don't even think that's where his instincts are. I think, okay, people make this huge thing because he personally says he likes Putin. I think that's part of his thing, trying to be affable, because if you're trying to make a deal with somebody, I think in his world, it doesn't benefit you to come out and say, hey, this guy's a horrible, murderous dictator, son of a bitch, the worst guy since Hitler. And then, oh, by the way, let's make a deal. Like, even if you believe all that stuff to be true, how does it really benefit you to come out and like declares like, well, he won't say it. He says he likes him. Look at what he does. I mean, that's what concerns me. I mean, to be honest with you, and I know you guys know I've never been like the hugest Trump fan. I couldn't stand Kamala Harris. I just was like, there's just zero substance there. Zero substance there. So I'm not like, I basically kind of a centrist. I was like, I'm probably right of where Reagan was, but I think Reagan would be considered like a communist pink liberal by today's conservative standards. So conservative. But anyway, I like I said, I don't like to spread hate. I don't like to spread too much divisiveness. I can work with anybody. You just have to have an open mind. You have to be open to critical thinking. And I am. I'm open to, the not only the possibility of but the probability that I'm wrong. I'm open to changing my mind when, new data points are presented to me. Like, you can't just assume you're right and get your back up and just dig in, get in your echo chamber, get in your bubble, just surround yourself with people and ideas and formats and forums and information sources that only reinforce, your point of view or your predisposed biases or whatever. We have to get back to thinking critically, solving problems. I mean, the debt bomb is like, neither party, neither side wants to do anything with the debt. It's like the CBO is saying, okay, this Trump bill just blows up the debt. Yes, it's good to cut some of the spending, but then you're going to, do 10 times more in tax cuts. And then somebody was telling me, well, tax cuts don't, contribute to the debt. Yes, they do. This notion that you're going to make this huge tax cut for trillions of dollars and the additional, business activity that's going to stimulate is going to make up for that revenue is just a horribly bankrupt, disproven theory that any economist that knows anything is just going to laugh at. And people can tell you that that's true, but I studied economics. It's not true. You take a ton of revenue out of the system, you increase the debt. And these massive tax cuts, for the very top, they do not trickle down. They do not stimulate this Laffer curve. None of this stuff is real. None of it's real. The government gets more money and pays them by collecting more money. And the person in the comment was absolutely right. We definitely the spending is crazy. There was an article that one of the guys, he got fired from Doge. He was this like really conservative guy who runs this like AI company. I think he was quite conservative, but in a different way, because these are like tech guys, probably, blows around with the wind a little bit. But he basically came out and said, hey, I was writing code for the government. I was in Doge. Like, I was handpicked by Elon Musk because I guess he's like a brilliant like CEO guy. And he wrote some code and stuff. But his thing was, he came out on his personal blog and he said, I was expecting to find that the government was horribly, horribly inefficient And I actually found quite the opposite, though, that there is like too many meetings and too many ineffective people and, probably too much duplication. He's like, I was actually surprised to find that there was not a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse. Like we couldn't find very much. And we looked. He's like, actually, the government works pretty well. And that's what you find. Like Medicare is fairly efficient. The VA is fairly efficient. These programs are run reasonably well. Now, I'm not saying there's not waste, fraud, and abuse. I know there is. And I know Elon found quite a bit. He didn't find 1 trillion. He found like 10% of that or 5% of that. Because the vast majority of the budget is just like not discretionary items. It's entitlements. It's Social Security, it's welfare, it's Medicare, it's Medicaid. Hold on one sec, guys. Hey, sorry about that, guys. There are like 10 calls and they knocking at the door. Um, yeah, housekeeping's here. No, I'm actually at my office, Billy Jack. Sorry, yeah, I have to clean up myself. Budget cuts. Elon came in, he's like, nope, taking away the snacks, taking away the coffee maker, taking away the housekeeping, taking away the toilet paper. We're gonna get you that free scratchy kind we can steal from the gas station. That would help. They just steal all the toilet paper and napkins and catsup packets from gas stations and AMPMs like I do. I haven't bought mustard since 1977, nor catsup. I empty salt packets. I got a 5-gallon jug full of salt. But anything? What's up, Payush? Doing some Chinese food? I wish I was there with you, sir. I wonder if they have good Chinese food in Nashville. Probably. Surprisingly, LA, you think, oh, there is great Mexican food. There is great, man. You have to, you got to get out of your, rich person beach bubble to find it. But there's really not, Chinese food. You think all these great foods, there's good Thai food, good Vietnamese food, but I don't know. If you guys know where the great Chinese food in Los Angeles area is, leave it down in the comments. Right near my testicles. Payush shotted big. Payush only does it big. SoFi versus CRISPR. If you want a huge move up in the near future, CRISPR. If I'm saying, what am I buying for my retirement in 10 years? SoFi. SoFi, I believe, is the safest stock in the stock market in terms of growth. Getting 30% growth with that level of safety, I mean, the cost of capital is really what matters in the end. That's what the durable competitive advantage is. All these financial services companies, all these fintech companies, they're going to lend money. They're going to do all sorts of different things. They're going to do crypto. They're going to do trading. They're going to do stocks. They're going to do options. SoFi choose to do things in a certain order that I believe was much smarter, much more responsible over the long term. There is no other SoFi, Look what happened, how much Capital One paid for Discover. SoFi probably may not be the next Chase, but they may be the next American Express. They may be the next Discover. They may get bought out for $100 billion. Who knows? They may be a top 10 financial institution in 15, 20 years. The market cap by then would probably be 250 billion, 300 billion. Robinhood will probably be worth like 20 trillion, much to my chagrin. No, guys, it's going to crash any day now. Be like, we hear this every day. We're in a nursing home. Robinhood's been on a 50-year run. You keep telling us it's going to crash. You bitter fuck. All right, Lou. All right. Easy, easy. Payush is a good luck charm. Now that Payush is in the stock, it's going to make a massive, massive run. Look at how they've been walking this thing down. Look at this long kiss goodnight after this pump. Comes down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clear levels. And this is, this is at a 5-year low. This was a 5-year low. I mean, it was really what, an 7-year low. Not to be confused with the 7-year itch. Oh my God. Are you guys still here? Anybody want to talk about anything? Oh yeah, we forgot to put your comments up on the stream. Somebody makes any comments now, it'll go up on the screen. Sorry, Not a Lurker wasn't here. Birdie wasn't here. Actually, Not a Lurker is the only one who actually is a producer. Birdie Alberti Avalos, wrench. I bet you do, Billy Jack. I know you're a big man. Probably got inner thigh chafing. Probably got that flat area where your inner thigh contacts your gunt, contacts your poof between your wiener and your gunt. Gunt issues. Money said poop. That's funny. That was funnier than your last bit, Money. You should go to a comedy camp, Money. You got a funny look. You kind of like Sal the stockbroker. You got a Fu Manchu. You got a shiny bald head. Who's that? Your sister? That's your mom? That's your dad? I can't tell. I have bad eyes. I think you told me last time. Let me give him a shout out. Shout out to whoever is in Money's avatar. Shout out to Payush. Of course you bought the dip, Payush. You buy everything. Madman. Inner thigh goop. Peter Lynch. What about Peter Lynch? Like his haircut? Looks like Phil Donahue. Hey, what can we do with your hair today? He's like, give me the Donahue. Make me look like I draped a mop over my head and then cut it myself flat. I want to look like a Raggedy Ann doll. Oh, that's Peter Lynch? Oh, really? I really can't see. Sorry. I just dominated by that sheen off your forehead. Really is Peter Lynch? God, that's a weird picture. Looks like your great grandmother or something. Looks like Martha Washington. I like Apple 160s. AVGO is 133. Yeah, I mean, always load the dips. No, you got a perfectly proportioned head. You're just bald. Nothing wrong with it. You're a handsome man. You asked me, like, how was your oral surgeon? And I go, well, he was a handsome man. Well, that line from Stripes, are you boys homosexuals? Like, no, sir, but we are willing to learn. Dude, Harold Ramis was a hilarious writer. Rest in peace. Wait, are Are you in a domestic partnership with Peter Lynch? I have no idea what's going on here. I am for gay marriage. But Money Guy didn't look gay to me. But what do I know? Can't judge a book by its cover. Looks straight as an arrow. It's like a cab driver from Milwaukee. Yeah, we could fix it, but I'd go to a PEX pipe. This copper, you're going to have nothing but problems in the winter. Tried to instantly tell him on sofa. JHX looks interesting, but background intense. He was buying a car with his daughter. Oh, cool. Awesome. That's cool, man. What a great person to meet. Legend. Absolute legend. Billy Jack's in a relationship with Jennifer Aniston right now. It's very believable, Billy Jack. Yeah, I'm looking for Match.com. I'm looking for a fat hillbilly who knows how to cook. I know just the thing. After this game of globo-thermonuclear war, I'm going to introduce you to a man named Billy Jack. Like inside the actor's studio. And then everything changed. You made a film, Bronson Pinchot, called Dunstan Checks In, where you worked with an ape. How was that different than working with your cousin Larry? Bronson Pinchot. Hey, Vern. I'd rather interview the Hey Vern guy. He was actually good. Heard him interviewed. Forget his name. I think he died too. Everybody dies. You notice that? They get old or they die young. And they're like a brilliant musician. They choke on their own vomit. Go to check into a hotel somewhere in Beverly Hills. Sit on a toilet. Open up a main line and ipso facto, done deal. Anyway, guys, I heard an ex-pres knocking. You're all class, Mr. Premium Option. You have a way with it. Just come right out and say it. I like it. I don't mind a little body talk. He was a bit curt with me. I have to tell you, he was a bit curt. Who remembers John Chambers, former CEO of Cisco Systems, during earning calls the way he would pronounce cash and cash equivalents? I honestly don't. I always read the stuff, Payush. I very rarely have a chance to actually listen to them. It takes so long. It's so early. Doing other stuff. I'm out jogging or yogging. Apparently, you just run really fast for a long period of time. Anyway, this is about to hit an hour, and there really hasn't been a point for. We're almost to 58 minutes, and the last, say, 58 minutes have had really no point. Sometimes it's just a journey, folks. Yeah. So, I don't know. Next time, maybe I'll remember to put the comments up. Appreciate you guys joining me. Bobby Joe, like I said, the smart enough for to bail out, as did Brennan, two brothers, the great Paul Gardner. Of course, two brothers once again. What happened to that third brother? I thought you were going to take Chicago by air, land, and sea. I need your log reports. Who's that weird guy? He used to be fat and then he got thin. He is good. He's in like some mafia movies. He was in that one show where he's like a genius detective. His partner was like that. I think it was Law and Order, like some Criminal Minds or something. His partner was that little brown-haired lady who was the daughter in What About Bob, I believe, incidentally. Anyway, guys, what's up? Yeah, Vinny D'Onofrio, that's right. He's good, man. Money, I like you. You're quick with a joker to light up your smoke, man. Looking for a job? I can only pay you $1 million a year. Unlimited disposable razors. Probably won't meet Peter Lynch in my office. I meet a garbage man. Down on his luck poker player. Anyway, guys, it's the CRISPR stock. It's my number one. It's hardly a momentum play for June because it's going down. Like, what kind of fat asshole picks a momentum play that's going down? This fat asshole. If you don't like it, Go watch Stock Mo. I love the guy. I think you're really going to like what he has for you. Peace. I'm out. Have a good weekend. Don't drink and drive. I know there's like none of you watching. Don't drink and drive. It's so stupid. Don't do it. Call an Uber. You stupid, stupid, drunk asshole. No, but anyway, so it is just reminding me, like, I don't drink, but it's like we had a, over this last holiday weekend, man, people just drinking and playing bumper cars. Take an Uber, dummy. Take an Uber. Peace, Sparrow and Athletic Brewing. I just drink and be. Okay, Billy Jack, have a great one. Payush, Two Brothers, Money, everybody else. Who else was here? I don't know. Jennifer Aniston, we appreciate you. Geeked Out. I think that was it. It's just like 4 people talking to each other. Huge circle jerk. Big sausage fest. Big sword fight. No woman would touch this thing with a 10-foot pole. Beer does taste good. You're right, Payush. I drank about 60 million beers in my day. Anyway, peace. I'm out of here. Go have a cold one.